Hi everyone, I'm Yogeshwarov and welcome back to YRS Research. I'm back on YouTube after 3 long years, and meanwhile, I've been doing multiple interesting things. I did my MBA and post that joined Goldman Sachs as an equity research analyst. I was covering the Indian consumer stocks there, stocks like HUL, Dabur, Marico, and currently I'm working at a venture studio which is focusing on taking adoption of Gen AI from X to 10x. This time, my objective of this channel is a little different. I want to create a community of people who are really passionate about equity research. And eventually, the goal is that this channel will not just be driven by me, but will be a platform for people who want to share their stock ideas. Really excited for this journey ahead. And now let's jump into what we have for today. So today we'll talk about a stock which is a proxy to the whole premiumization tsunami which is happening in India. So Landmark Cars is an auto dealership which is present across the value chain. They are into new vehicle sales, they are into after sales, they are into old used vehicle sales, they're also into financing. We'll discuss about each of the business segments later in this presentation. So I'm sure all of us believe in the whole premiumization story of India. So post-COVID, there has been a K-shaped recovery in India where the higher income group consumption has gone through off the roof. So if we see the last 5 years sales CAGR for Titan, it is north of 20%. And if you compare within the FMCG ecosystem, Nestle is growing much faster than HUL, and in the footwear ecosystem, Metro is growing much faster than Bata. So there are multiple data points to show that the number of HNIs in India is increasing at a rapid pace. In the last 3 years, the number of people who filed an IT return with an income higher than 1 CR has almost doubled. So there are multiple ways to play this story, and we'll discuss later why Landmark stands out. So when we talk about premiumization, how can we forget about luxury cars? The luxury car market in India is a fast-growing yet very underpenetrated market. If you see the adoption of luxury cars within the HNI ecosystem in India is just 4% compared to the global average of 60%. I believe that twin engines to the whole luxury car market growth in India. First is the number of HNI base increasing, and second, the adoption of luxury cars within the whole HNI ecosystem increasing. So if you see on the right-hand side chart, the volume growth for luxury cars is double of what it is for passenger vehicles. So clearly, luxury cars is the segment to be in the whole passenger vehicle ecosystem. So now coming to why I believe Landmark Cars is a great way to play the increase in the high-end consumption group in India is because they have great brands in the portfolio. They have brands like Mercedes, MG, Mahindra, Kia. For all of these brands, their best-selling model is well north of 15 lakh rupees. We'll discuss more about the brand strategy going forward. Now into the business model, 80% of the revenues comes from new vehicle sales, which is traditionally a low margin business, and majority of the profitability comes from the after sales business, which is a high margin and low cyclicality business. Last year, they also got into used vehicle sales. They did a GMV of around 110 crore rupees. I believe they're off to a great start here. So now coming into the largest division, which is their new vehicle sales, they're going through a major brand transformation here. They're continuously investing into new emerging brands, and they're shutting showrooms for brands which are non-performing, so brands like Volkswagen and Renault. So if in FY25, they're aggressively going to open showrooms for brands like Mahindra, MG, and Kia, and they believe 20% of the revenue will come from these new emerging brands. If you see the ASP, that has also doubled over the last 5 years from 10 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees. I believe this sets up a base for a great long-term structural story. In FY24, you must have noticed their sales were stagnant. That was because of supply chain constraints from Mercedes, and they were also shutting showrooms for non-performing brands. I believe this division in the long term can grow at a 15% CAGR. Now coming to the most interesting part of the business, which is the after-sales segment. It is a high growth, high ROC, and a low cyclicality business. I think of it more as a hospital business where the user doesn't know what is happening inside of the body. You do what the doctor asks you to do, and insurance takes care of most of it. Traditionally, also, if you see, majority of the profitability of auto showroom comes from the after sales segment because the business continues to grow as the total cumulative customers of the showroom grows. Also, if you see for the new segments like EV, you cannot just give it to anyone. You need people with high technical capabilities, which only these authorized dealerships will have. Going forward, I see this business to grow at high teens for a very long time. Now coming to the valuations of Landmark Cars. After this recent stock price fall, Landmark Cars is the cheapest consumer discretionary stock around. The sector average is at around 25 to 30 times EV/EBITDA. Landmark trades at just 12 times EV/EBITDA for FY26. I usually don't like giving price targets because you don't know how the market ends up valuing the company. Like I have had case studies where the market doesn't appreciate the story for 2 3 years after I've bought into the stock, and there are times when the market appreciates the story so much that ends up giving it valuations that you never expected it to do. As an investor, our job is to select 15 to 20 stories like this, where we believe the market isn't giving it the true valuation that the business deserves, and leave it up to the market. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for taking out the time, and would love to connect with a lot of you on LinkedIn and discuss more about the company. And do reach out if you want to be a part of this community. Thank you. Bye bye.